you'd be surprised how many people actually make this mistake and fall victim to their biases. When I joined Deliveroo, we had the same exact approach to every single market. And when I joined, we actually changed everything, how we actually do it. Each market needs a different approach because marketing is all about people, and people are very much influenced by their cultures. So how you talk to them, how you're trying to attract them, to like work with you or like be your customer, it has to differ from market to market as well. So for example, Hong Kong, the way people use Facebook in Hong Kong and in the UK or in France is totally different. So for example, in Hong Kong, they like very shiny, tacky ads with like lots of emojis and lots of anime characters. Whereas in France and like writers do like, or like customers like lots of transparency. In UK, they like lots of promos, So like you have to be very smart about how you localize your communication, be it on acquisition or on engagement sides. And it takes a lot of research to actually do that. We have an entire insights team, research insights team, which actually looks at these elements. And it's very important to continuously update your researches as well, because times change, the needs of the business change, the types of the customers we want, or the types of the riders of the restaurants we want also change. So it's very important to be on top of the game every single time. And just be flexible about it. Marketing is all about flexibility in the end, and trying to like really get into the mind of your customer rather than just staying within your own mind, which is very often full of boundaries. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's funny you mentioned Hong Kong, because I used to live there, and there was my roommate who was I think at the time 26 years old. Used to have Hello Kitty bed sheets, and he was he had a girlfriend and everything, but he had Hello Kitty bed sheets at 26, and it was not shocking for him. So why not? But it's funny how it's totally true, and you need to adapt. And I'm curious about the research team you mentioned. How is it structured? Like, do they spend a lot of time just kind of benchmarking competitors? How do they operate?
So our research team is purely focused on researching users. So we have a different team doing competitor benchmarking. The research team is actually focused on understanding our end user. So the way it's working is that they are the experts in how to, run a proper research program, so that the results that we get are actually statistically significant, and they can be trusted. The process of choosing what to focus on in research, it's a bit more complicated and it's more interesting. So they're not the only ones thinking of what they need to research. They actually come to us, their main stakeholders, to ask what is going to make our lives easier, what would we like to learn more about, to make sure that our marketing programs are the most efficient ever. Me being on a global level as well, I'm not the only one who says, okay, we need this. No, I have local markets which are totally different from each other. Usually my teams in the local markets know the best their market. So I prefer a bottom-up approach, where I go to the local markets and say, hey guys, what would you like to learn more about your customer base, something that you don't know yet, or something that would simplify your job. Then I collect all their suggestions by market. And then this is when I decide, okay, these are the common things through all the markets that is probably worth focusing on. I also have my own desires, what I actually want to learn. So we collect, we make a priority list. And then this is when we give it to the research team and say, hey guys, how can we learn as much as we can about these points in the fastest environment? So very often, the research team is not going to focus on all the markets at the same time. They basically choose the like 1 or 2 or 3 countries that actually help us understand everything about all the others. So for example, like we would go and do the research in Hong Kong, but we know that those learnings can probably be used in Singapore as well. Or we would do the research in UK and France and know that these learnings can probably be used in other markets as well, depending on the topic. Some more personalized researches are done on a local level, but those probably, it's also important to understand like the highest impact. So it's something that can be done on a, like massively on a global level, then this is probably going to be something that's going to be used in all the markets. Something very small, only just for one country, we would allow the local market to actually look into it themselves.